Hello everybody, this is the November Lamley Challenge. I'm out here in the backyard, beautiful fall day in Utah, beautiful November day, hence the November Lamley Challenge, first weekend of the month. We've been starting this little tradition of doing the Lamley Challenge. It's where I take a piece of my collection, show it off in one way or the other. Like I think I ranked the Datsun wagons last time. I think I just showed Hot Wheels Mustangs in September. So this time I've got a new theme. What is the Lamley Challenge? Well, I'm going to show you the section of my collection that I want to show you. And then you go ahead on TikTok, Instagram, here on YouTube, and show me something within the same theme. Tag it, hashtag Lamley Challenge, and let me know, and I'll share it, or I'll watch it, or something. Look at the picture, look at the video, doesn't matter. This theme is a fun one. I just wanted to go police cars, and there's a million directions to go. I personally, this guy over here, went with Matchbox police cars. That is the Lamley Challenge. Now, if you're not into Matchbox police cars, but you have a police collection, show me something else. I know for a fact green light collectors have a ton of cop cars that they can show. Tomica Limited Vintage, I thought about bringing those out. I went with Matchbox police cars. You go with what you want, but police cars is the theme. So I went through my collection. I probably missed a few, and I just started pulling out the cars from my Matchbox collection that are police cars. And I'm not talking about just one casting. I'm talking about every police car that I could find. Like I said, I probably missed some. You're seeing me roll through them right now. This was an undertaking to go through all of them. If it was a like a fire chief car, kept it, or I kept it in the collection, or I didn't pull it out. If it was a security car, it stayed there. It had to be a police car. There's a couple of unmarked police cars, but I know that it was part of a police theme that I pulled out as well. But Matchbox has been doing police cars forever. Every diecast company does them. But I think Matchbox nails them. And they have since day one. There's been police cars in the Matchbox world forever. And considering there's always been a nice mix for Matchbox for the most part since its early days of realism and kind of utility. So you'll see like a real car you'd see on the streets plus a construction vehicle, an ambulance, a fire truck, and of course a police car. And that continues to this day. Every year you're going to see an array of police cars in the main line. You're going to see an array of police cars in 5-packs. They'll pop in from all kinds of directions, even some special editions, and they're almost always good. Now, there's always a mix with Matchbox too, especially in the last few years. You know, I specialize in the Mattel era Matchbox, you know, and I know that there's many of you that don't. And if you want to show some of your police cars from that era, from the actual Lesney era, that would be fantastic, because I understand there's some great ones from there. But from the Mattel era, we've had plenty that are licensed, you know, like California Highway Patrol. Boone County is a popular one. By the way, I should mention I did Sheriff as well, so Sheriff is included in here, Sheriff and Police. And then they'll do some unlicensed ones. Now, for the most part, except for a strange little blip in like 2011, 2010, 2012, they'll try, even if it's not a licensed police livery, they'll try and make it realistic looking, like Matchbox County or something, but the deco on the sides, for the most part, looks pretty good. The other thing that Matchbox will do, which I love, is that they'll do a lot of, you know, American police forces, like I said, you know, Boone County is really popular. We've seen CHP, California Highway Patrol. There's a bunch of others. As you go through, you'll see them pop in as we breeze through all of these cars. But they'll do NYPD. Forgot about NYPD. That's a good one. But they'll do international police as well. I think we've seen, whether it's an actual licensed international police deco, or in homage or tribute, or, you know, inspired by, quote unquote. You'll see a lot of European countries, Germany, Romania, the UK, of course, France. We've even seen Russia. And then you'll see, I think there's been some Australia. There's been Malaysia, Japan. Either actual police liveries or inspired by police liveries. And you can see them all. You can go in all kinds of directions with Matchbox Police. And I'd imagine a lot of Matchbox collectors really enjoy pulling out their Matchbox collections and their Matchbox Police collections. I am one of them. Now, because I collect from there's a lot of castings that come out as police cars that I've had in the collection before and then eventually gotten rid of. That happens. I try and keep things streamlined. So you're going to see a fair amount of the same casting. There's some that I just like, no matter what version comes out, I'm going to keep it. There's others that I'll only keep a handful. There's some castings that I just have licensed police liveries. But ultimately, I try and, I keep the castings I like. So Crown Vics, Dodge Chargers, Dodge Monaco, the Buick, Century, Corvette, BMW, any sort of BMW police. I'm always into a lot of Dodge. I have a lot of Dodge police, Chevy, Ford, of course, Subaru, you name it. I've got them. Now, I'm kind of blabbering on because I want you to see all of these cars. Now, here's the other part of this video that I wanted to do. I wanted to show you every one of the police cars from my Matchbox collection, at least the ones that I remembered to grab. But I also wanted to extract 10. So I am actually going to spend the bulk of this video showing my top 10 Matchbox police cars. In no order, except I put my favorite police casting, or my two favorites, towards the front. No, actually I didn't. I'm looking at this. I have two that I will note my two favorite police castings when we do this. They both fall within the top 10. I have a couple of repeats, but as I went through all of these castings, I extracted out my 10 favorite in no particular order. Now, as I'm recording this, I'm just hoping that we've gone through every one of these police cars so you can see them. I hope that you can go back, pause it if there's cars you're interested in. I'll try and in the comments, if there's a car, like you can say, hey, that white Dodge Monaco with the yellow deco, which one is that? I'll try and answer, and I'm sure some of you Matchbox experts that are watching as well can do the same in the comment section. But yeah, go ahead and ask me, because there's a lot of them here, and I just can't walk through each one of them and talk about each one of them. I'm just going to give 10 the proper attention. Have I rambled on enough? I hope so. That's what happens when you record ahead of time. But I think you've been able to see all of my police vehicles outside of my top 10. Just as a reminder, you do a video, you do a photo on Instagram, you use the hashtag lamleychallenge. Police cars is the theme. I want to see what you have in your collection. Do your top 10, do your whole collection, do your top 3. I don't care. Just make sure it's police cars for November, and we'll reset in December. All right. I talked 8 minutes going through these cars. It is time to look at the top 10. In no particular order, Matchbox police cars. Here is the first one. And it's a beauty. This is, as you can tell, the Austin Minivan, a very popular casting. This is the only one that has a metal chassis. This was done in the Lesney series. It was a premium series done by Matchbox a few years ago, and they actually gave all of the castings that they used in this metal chassis, die-cast chassis. This one got a tow hook and everything. This one is actually based on a real police car back in the day in the UK. I think this is called a Panda Police, and if you look up the Austin Minivan, you can see this police car. This is my favorite Austin Minivan as well. There's a lot of great ones out there, but I really like this one because of its simple, vintage, very much retro deco, and because it was premium, it got the full treatment. So you can see it's got, front, rear, top, sides. Everything is done in this very simplistic, very retro police deco. So this one I could argue is my favorite police car just because of how cool and how vintage it is. All right. Number 2. Keeping with the vintage theme, Matchbox does a lot of vintage police cars from a lot of different eras. Growing up, when I grew up, like I was a little kid in the 70s, I was definitely a kid in the 80s, and I graduated from high school in the 90s, did college. But 70s and 80s cars, it seemed like that was the era of classic police cars. You had cars crashing all the time. Of course, there was the Dukes of Hazzard, A-Team, all those kind of shows, Knight Rider, where cop cars were chasing the good guys or the bad guys, depending, and they were crashing a ton. And I think of the Dodge Monaco as one of those cars that was always, I think they used Dodge Monaco's in the Dukes of Hazzard, right? And then all these other cop shows. Just, anytime there was a cop, think about this. Here, pick up that scenario of like the cop in New York. They're at the hot dog stand and they're having a hot dog, and then I've talked about this before. And then like the call comes in and they gotta like throw half of the hot dog in the trash and get in the car and go. This is kind of like, it's this kind of car that I think of. Now those detectives, they have the unmarked car, but you know what I mean. Very much 70s. Dodge Monaco is fantastic. I could have picked any. I love the Dodge Monaco casting. I went ahead with the California Highway Patrol because it's licensed. I really think that one is very cool. I almost did this 10-pack just because I love the color combination, and we haven't seen that very often, but I went ahead and went with the California Highway Patrol, which may not be the only time I do it in my top 10. All right. I mentioned I was going to tell you which of my two favorite police castings that Matchbox has done. And here's the first of the two. It is the Mitsubishi Evo Police. And I have mentioned this before. I'm not a big fan of this era's, this casting that Hot Wheels did of this era, of this generation of the Mitsubishi Evo. But I think Matchbox's is fantastic. I know there's a lot of Evo fans out there. Probably don't like that the police bar is on there, but this is a very clever, very creative, very cool casting. And yeah, based on real police cars. They're out there, at least back in the day when this was released. This is the Romanian version, Romanian Police. And I just like the way it looks. This was, I think, the second color of its first release. I actually thought about doing the premium version where it's got the full deco, but I really like this one with the red-lipped wheels on the 10 spokes, plus the Policia deco on the side. It's just one that I've always liked. There's a lot of great ones from the Mitsubishi Evo that have been released, and I might change my mind later, but that's the one I went with. All right, staying in outside of the United States, let's say. We've already done a UK, we've done American, we've done Japanese with the Mitsubishi. Now let's go European, German. Bmw M5 Police. There's a bunch of these that I would use too, but I used them one of the most recent. Had to go with the Russian police car that I think you can find in stores here in the U.S. This set has come out last year, and they're doing this like best of Germany. We've seen best of the UK. We've seen best of France, and now we have best of Russia as well. And this one is so unique with that Russian deco. And I kind of dig the way they did it. I just think it's simplistic. I think it's licensed. If not, it's definitely inspired by. I like the casting. It's a little on the small side, but I'm still a big fan. I thought about, there was another premium with Real Riders done in a European Police deco that I thought about using, but I went ahead with this Russian because I just thought it was such a cool. And the deco that you see on the BMW M5, you're going to see come up pretty soon. All right. Back to the United States, and here's one. This is one of the repeat castings, so I'll show you the first one, and then the second one will come later. This is the Dodge Charger police car. Now, if you look at this one, City of Albuquerque, and if you look at it on the turntable, you'll see that it has full deco, side, rear, top, everything. And this is because this was a special gathering convention exclusive. I'm trying to think what year this was. 2014, I think. And it's just, I just love this casting. This is probably my number 3 casting behind my top 2 in terms of police castings. It's gone through a couple of modifications, but ultimately it's really good looking. And this one with the Albuquerque deco on it, fully done, is very, very cool. It does have the logo on the back trunk, but it has that really cool Dodge Charger tail lights and headlights, and of course the bar in the front. I just think it is a really, really cool casting, and this is a very complete version. When I went through all of these police cars in the video, you notice I kind of stayed focused on the sides. This is one thing that Matchbox, and I understand people don't like it, but in the real world of diecast and $1 diecast for both Hot Wheels and Matchbox, it's kind of an either-or type of thing. When we can get premium releases, it's great. But sometimes it's like if you're doing a cop car, you got to do those side panels, and maybe you can do one side with headlights or one side with taillights, but ultimately you're going to have those side police decos on there. And so when you can get one with the full deco, it's great. I can't complain too much about lack of headlights and taillights. I like them when they're there. It's definitely a bonus. It's a bummer that we can't get more of them like that, but ultimately that's how it has to go. And so with a police car, you're just going to get a lot of blank fronts and rears. Hopefully they put enough detail in the casting to make it look right. All right, this little tangent. All right, back to Japan. We already did the Mitsubishi. How about the Subaru WRX? Is this the STI? What do they call this one? It's just they just call it Subaru Impreza WRX in a police livery. Another one like the Evo that I know there's a lot of fans. Hot Wheels has done this version of the Subaru, but some people might not like that it has a roll bar on it, or a police bar on it. I again think it's very clever and very cool. Just something a little bit different. If they could do one without, that's great. But I'm glad that they did do a police version of this one. Several versions I like, but this is one that still the definitive version has not been released yet. They did do a European police version. I'd like to see a Japanese police version of this casting because the casting is perfect. I think this is a Ryo Asada casting. Several of these are actually. I think the Austin Minivan is. I think the Mitsubishi Evo is. The Dodge Monaco is. The Dodge Charger might be, but I know the Subaru definitely is a Ryo Asada casting. As you can see, it's really highly detailed, really cool. And I just like the clean version of this white and orange version. But yeah, I'm still waiting for the definitive version of that casting. All right. A couple of non-cars. Here's the only pickup in my top 10. Another casting that I absolutely love. It is the Ram police pickup. I think it's called. Do they call it the Dodge Ram or the Ram? Yeah, 2015 Ram. Has the front grill, what do you call that? The grill, I don't remember, the roll bar or whatever, the grill bar. This is a 10-pack version. They did, when they were doing two different versions of 10-pack releases, they had one California Highway Patrol with the black and the white door, the standard. I really like this all-white version. This casting debuted as a National Parks vehicle, right? And then we've seen it as a police car several times, as a sheriff's truck. I'm really just a big fan of this casting. I think it's super solid, really good looking. And this Highway Patrol in white, I just think is fantastic. So that is there. All right, 3 more to do, running with the black color on all 3 of these. I mentioned, I'll start right here, this particular BMW M5. Considered this one possibly as in my top 10. I mean, it got the full deco because it is premium. But I went ahead and I picked the Russian one. And I also didn't pick it because that deco was showing up in this one. This is the Bmw X5 from that same Lesney edition, that Lesney line where they got the die-cast chassis, and this one did. This casting, the BMW X5, there's a version with opening doors, there's a version with police bar, and then there's just a standard road version. So there's 3 different versions of the X5. I'm most fond of the police versions. They've been done as like ambulances and emergency vehicles. This police one with the European, would this be a UK deco? That got the full treatment with the blue-lipped wheels, and they matched it with the M5 a little bit later. I just think is super sharp. This is a tough vehicle to get these days. Last I checked, it's been a while, but last I checked, this was commanding a pretty heavy price, but still very cool. All right, put that one right there. 2 more to go. Going back to the one, let's see, is there only one repeat? Yeah. One repeat. I mentioned that this Dodge Charger Police from the Gathering of Friends convention. But here is maybe the sharpest looking police car I have in my opinion, and it is the Boone County Sheriff Dodge police car. In black with the yellow stripe and then the Boone County Sheriff deco. Now, there's Boone County everywhere. I mean, you can see, the reason we see a lot of Boone County, I think it's Missouri, is because there is a collector there, Keith, who has he's a sheriff there, and he's kind of opened up his department to do some licensed vehicles with Matchbox, and it's been kind of cool. I'm going to miss a bunch, but there's a lot of Boone County. There was a Mustang. They're all kind of back there. I don't want to reach too far, but a lot of Boone County models. But this one is the one I like the best, the Boone County Sheriff Dodge Charger, because it's just super sharp. I love it with the 5-spoke wheels in chrome, kind of a matted chrome. So I guess that you call that silver, right? But yes, it doesn't have taillights, it doesn't have headlights, but because it's all black, you could kind of almost like pass them off as tinted, and the car just looks cool. I love the yellow stripe. It just kind of really highlights the contours of the casting. And I love police cars because a lot of them have this kind of classic silhouette, almost like the way a kid would drive a car. And obviously, this is more mod, or kid would draw a car. Back seat, front seat, two doors. That's what most of them are like. And that's just a really good looking silhouette of a cop car. And I just like the way it's done. All right, speaking of that silhouette and that classic silhouette, this is the other that I would consider up there with the Mitsubishi as my all-timer. Dodge Charger, Mitsubishi, and this casting, and it's the last of my top 10. It is the Mustang Fox Body. What do they actually call this one? 93 Ford Mustang Lx. There it is right there. I'll show it to you. Lx SSP. California Highway Patrol once again. But this is a casting I absolutely adore. Fox Body Mustang is a classic one, but you don't see it. Usually we're seeing the way Hot Wheels does them is a very sports version. This is the cop silhouette, so it's a little bit more, early 90s kind of simplistic. I don't know. There's just something about this casting. It's done really, really well with the headlights being part of the window piece. You get that brake in the front, which allows the side deco, the police deco, to be there without, kind of just a bubble-ish, messy front. You've got that brake with the headlights, which looks super realistic. The disc wheels. There's so many cool versions of this casting, and I think that silhouette, the casting's really well done of a car that, you don't see them as cop cars anymore, but kind of a cool throwback to several years ago, and I will add that one to the list. We are done. Those are my top 10 in no particular order. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you disagree. I assume you have to agree or disagree. So I want to know, and I want to see what you have. Everyone has some police cars in their collection. Let's see what you've got in yours. Show them off. Use the Lamley Challenge hashtag. I will take a look. I'll share some of them. This was a fun one to do. Thanks, everybody. Bye.